Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I've been sharing with you on Instagram that I have been studying Japanese for quite a while and you've been asking my book recommendations and how do I study. So I thought to do this video for all of you in English, so pardon my English because it's quite rusty, so it's gonna be a mess during the whole video. So for context, I did study and pass during the 2019 the N5 exam with, I barely passed, but I kept studying on and off through the years and I kept buying books and trying new things. And for some reason last year I was, and I'm still really motivated to try harder this time. So during July and August I finished all my N5 books. Finally on September I started studying for the N4. Not for the exam. I wasn't sure if I wanted to take the exam. Right now I'm sure that I don't want to take the exam because that will take me to another road that I will need to focus on especially on the grammar, vocabulary and kanjis that will go on the exam, and I rather spend my time just reading Japanese because that's my motivation for keep studying. Before starting I just want to put 3 things that you will need to take into mind before starting Japanese, and when it's motivation you need a clear goal to study because it's gonna be a super long journey, and even write it down somewhere because you will need to remind yourself what you are doing this to yourself because it's quite hard and sometimes like I don't need Japanese for anything, why I'm keep doing this? So just read your goal and make sure that you keep doing it. The other thing is that you need to be flexible with yourself, and it's something I didn't do the first time and that's why I end up burning out. What I mean with this, so if you have a goal, there's many ways to achieve that goal. So for example, I want to read Harry Potter by the end of this year. I know that I need some amount of grammar, vocabulary and kanjis. So instead of just opening a grammar book and just doing that book, I know that I will burn out really fast because I don't really like grammar. So instead of doing that, I find that my way of studying grammar is just by reading and learning vocabulary and just checking out the grammar I've been finding, and that way for me is more enjoyable. So that's the way I've been doing it, and that means to be flexible. So it doesn't matter if I don't finish one thing, if I switch from kanjis to vocabulary, the important thing is to keep doing it. That comes the third thing I wanted to talk about, is that you need to have a habit of studying Japanese. And at least you will need 1 hour a day, and for some of you maybe that's too much, but if you are not putting the time, you are not going to see any evolution, and that will frustrate you and you will stop studying. So Japanese is quite a hard language, so you will need to put a lot of effort. I usually study like 1.5 to 2 hours a day, and for me even that is quite a limited time, and I feel that some days I'm not advancing at the pace I would like. So you will need to put quite an amount of hours. So if you are not willing to do any of these 3 things, you can try it, but you will see that you will burn out really fast. So now with Japanese, the first thing obviously is to learn the kanas, so hiragana and katakana. This should be pretty quick, to be honest. In a week or 2, I wouldn't do it for a whole month, as I've seen other people. Even just a week should be more than enough. I will leave you down below a very handy web I think it's Tofu. They made like a quiz learning hiragana and katakana, and it's pretty handy, and that should be more than enough to get you through your first chapters of the Genki book. It's just that you will need to have some idea on how to read hiragana and katakana, but you don't need to know it perfectly, since you will see it a lot since the beginning. You will get the hang of it, so don't worry. But in case you want to practice even more reading, I will leave you also down below a web, it's called Tadoku Readers, and they will have levels from the start, from 0 up until N1. It's free content, there's a ton of text, tales, essays, there's a lot of things, and you can use the level 0 to practice your readings in Hiragana Katakana. So after Hiragana Katakana, I recommend starting with the basics with Genki, and especially Genki because there's a lot of content outside of just the book that follows the book, and it's really nice to have. It doesn't matter if you are going for the M5 exam or not, you can start with this book. I did pass my exam using this book, so yeah, it's pretty good. I like how it goes progressively, so it starts building from the first chapter onto the others, on top of the others, so the grammar, vocabulary and kanjis, it does grow, and you will see them repeatedly through the whole book, so it's really nice. As an example, you will have on all the chapters, the first thing is a dialogue. You can find the audios. I think it comes with a CD, but you can find the audios on internet, so don't worry about that. I started reading the dialogue. You won't understand almost anything because every dialogue it shows you the new vocabulary and grammar that you will see in that chapter. So usually it's like I just get the gist of it, but you have the translation in English on the side. Then you have all the vocabulary for this lesson, and then you have the grammar points along with some exercises. And at the end, you will find the same chapters, but for the kanji. They will start showing you the new kanjis with exercises especially for the kanjis, and the best part of all is that they have readings, text. So I love the text at the back because apart from showing you the new grammar you have done on that chapter, they will also show you new vocabulary. They show you the kanjis you've been learning, and yeah, it's a really nice way to see how you have been improving. As for the other resources I told you about, Genki, you have the podcast from Jun, and he really goes really nicely with this book because he has special episodes for each of the chapters of the book, using the grammar, using the vocabulary, so it's really nice. And also Tokini Andy's channel, he also has a really nice explanation on the grammar of each of the grammar points of this book. And yeah, it follows the book, so you can use both of them along on each chapter. Also, I will leave you another podcast down below. It's called Comprehensible Japanese, I think so. It's amazing because she really knows how to explain things without needing much vocabulary, and you will understand. I don't know how she does it, but you will understand all her videos just by looking at her and how she explains things. And it's really nice, comprehensible videos in Japanese. Also, if you don't want to buy the answer key, which I understand, this doesn't come with the answers, I will leave you down below a website that includes all the exercises with its answers, so you can find them easily there and you can practice even inside the web. So yeah, it's really nice. So after Genki, or maybe even during Genki, you can use these other resources I have here. These are my favorite ones. I have lots more. So if you want me to do another video about this, I can explain more about it. The best ones during the M5, it's the Bumpro. Bumpro is a website, and you can find there their grammar list, and it's pretty nice because all the points are really well explained. So you can use it along with Genki, but you will find that Genki lacks some of the points in there, so you can go through them also and make sure you know the whole thing of the M5, because Genki sometimes it could be quite short in some of the points. For vocabulary specifically, I use Anki. I won't tell you what about Anki because I'm really bad at explaining, but I will leave you down below a video that really does it much better than me. I will tell you the decks I used. The first one was the Tango N5. This one, for starting, I think it's the best one because it's more, I don't know how to tell you, but it's more softer. Yeah, it's like it goes in crescendo. And yeah, I think it's a really nice entry, especially if you are studying for the JLPT exam. It's around like 1,000 words or something. Don't be scared, but yeah, you will need a ton of vocabulary if you want to study Japanese. And this one is really nice. The other one is Kaishi 1.5, and if you're really into Japanese, I recommend you to study this one, but it's quite hard. It starts the same way as the Tango one, but eventually it goes exponentially harder because it also teaches you N2 and 1 level vocabulary, and the sentences, they will not help you at all because they have a lot of vocabulary that it's not included on the deck, and yeah, sometimes it could be quite a mess, but the amount of vocabulary that teaches you, for me, it was amazing, especially once I started studying for the M4. So yeah, you have these options and choose whatever you would like. So for reading, there's also, I think I told you before about this, it's the Tadoku Readers. So it's a really nice website with tons of content for reading. And if you have to focus on to something, I would tell you to just focus on to reading, because with reading you will learn grammar, vocabulary, kanjis, you will learn almost anything. Yeah, you will lack the listening part, but I think it's, especially when you're starting, it's easier to get to know all your things and to put together all your thoughts onto a text instead of onto a listening. But yeah, I really like reading. So another book you can use if you don't want to use Anki for your vocabulary is this book. Actually, the Tango M5 deck is based on this book. So it's really nice. It contains lots of sentences, and with the vocabulary, it has this sheet that you can put on to avoid looking at the answers when you are practicing. And yeah, it's a really nice book. It's not that expensive, so yeah, it's nice. But at this point, I would rather use Anki instead of this one, because I like to have something on my phone instead of looking at my phone the whole day. I just do Anki, so yeah. And the other resource I will tell you what is ChatGPT, especially if you are not native in English, because if you need translation of some of the grammar points and anything you want to know, it's really nice. Be aware that it has some errors. I found some errors, especially when just making a photo and what's the answer? It sometimes just gives me the wrong answer. So be careful with that, but to try to explain you some points into your language, for example, for me in Spanish, it was really nice. And also at this stage, if for kanji specifically, you can start with the three first levels from Wanikani. They are free and you can practice there, but I didn't do anything especially with kanji, because if you are doing your vocabulary, you will see the kanjis that you need to know more than enough to learn them. So it's better to use the kanji in context instead of just learning the kanji, the unyomi and the kunyomi separately. I don't really recommend doing that, even though I'm doing Wanikani. So yeah, which I can tell you anything because I'm telling you the opposite thing I'm doing, but Wanikani so far for me is working, even though I stopped doing it for a while because I had so many things going on. But if you want to try it, you have 3 weeks. The first 3 levels, which you can do it in 2 months. So I think it's more than enough to know if that way of studying kanji it's for you. And now that we are at the end of the M5, what if you want to study for the exam? So for the exam, you will really need to know your exam. And for that, I recommend you these 2 books. These are the official Noken books. And for the exam, each one of them contains unfortunately, only one mock-up exam. But the level, the vocabulary, the grammar, everything is on point. So they are amazing to work with. And the best thing for me, let me show you. is the transcripts of the listening. For me, this was, I don't think I will pass the listening part if it wasn't for the transcripts. So what I did is just to listening as many times as I needed, and reading the transcripts along to try to parse, to understand the vocabulary. But if you're using Shun's podcast, yeah, you will get an easy time than I get. I forgot, because at that time Shun didn't have his channel. So yeah, and I also use it another one, but you don't need to buy it if you don't like it. It contains everything from the N5 in a very short package. The only bad thing is that you can substitute Genki with this one, because the explanations in this one are there are no explanations in English almost. It has no English, this book. It contains the grammar points, it contains exercises like the ones from the mock-up exams, and also all the kanjis, vocabulary. Yeah, it's pretty complete, but I don't know if I will purchase it once again, if I have to. I think there's more than enough resources with Boompro and all the channels I've told you from YouTube that can substitute this book. So moving on to the N4, there's two things that can go. You can do exactly the same, I told you before, to the N5. You can buy the Genki book. It's exactly the same as the other one. This is the 3rd edition. It doesn't matter which edition do you have from the book. They are almost the same, they just change it a few things. And you can still use the same web for the practice exercises. You can keep using Tokini's and this video, also Shun's video. So yeah, you can still doing the same. And I really think you can pass the N4 with this material, with Boompro, and yeah, just keep doing the same. But I did something else, because even though I read Genki, I didn't really like the book at this time, and I don't know, I just wanted to change the strategy and see how it goes. I did Anki, I did Wanikani at first, and then I started with these books. These are the ShinKanzen master books. These are amazing, especially for the JLPT exam, and going on from the N4 to they are not in the N5 level, so it's only for the N4 upwards, and they are amazing. But they are specifically made for the exam. It means that the explanations on the grammar, I don't know if you can see anything, but yeah, there's no explanations on the grammar. I really use Boompro with this one, because some of the grammar is like I'm not getting anything from here. But what I really liked is that all the points are the points that are similar are on the same page, and the exercises. So let me just show you. Yeah. So here you have points that are really similar together, and on the other side you have the exercises that to practice these points from here. So if you are really nitpicking on which grammar points to use, which one is the best, this is a really good book to learn that. But for me, it has to be this book, the reading one. And what I did is, first I did this half of the book, it's just text. Since I already did the Anki deck, the Kaishi deck, I knew most of the vocabulary here. I didn't know the grammar points. So what I did is, while I was reading, I looked in here and in Boompro the grammar points, and I made sure to understand the whole text. I finished the book and then did it all over again. And the second time was way easier, I can tell you that. And it really was really nice for my motivation, because I could see how I was improving. So yeah, for the M4 I did that. I did study the Anki deck, I did my kanjis with Wanikani, and I used these two books. As for listening, I told you before that I passed the N4 mock-up exam, And you will say, if you haven't practiced your listening, how did you pass it? I don't know, maybe because I listen to the Japanese news every morning, maybe because I listen to many podcasts every day. They are not specifically for the exam. That's why my mark wasn't that good on the listening part. But I guess since the N5 and N4 is a really low level, so basic that anything will help you to improve onto that level. So that's what I think I did pass the N4 exam, even though I didn't study for it. If you want to study for the JLPT exam, and if you have already done these 2 books, you are more than prepared, at least for the reading and grammar. The next book you should buy is this one. This one is really great. I haven't finished, to be honest, because I'm not going for the JLPT exam, so I've decided to I just did the half of the book. And in here you will find kanjis, vocabulary and grammar. Good thing about this book is that on the other side you have the explanation of each of the answers, and sometimes even it explains you the grammar point that you should know. The only thing that I don't recommend this book for the N5, as you can see it says N5 and N4, is because all of the grammar points are mixed, so you don't know which ones are from which level. So if you are at the N5 it's quite difficult, but if you are doing the N4 exam it's amazing because you also go through the past exam. So yeah, I really recommend this one if you are going for the exam. And yes, super small. Also, I don't have anything else. Well, I have this book for kanjis that maybe you have seen me showing you sometimes. I did finish the book, but I wouldn't recommend it because I don't like to study. I don't like how it shows you the kanji. It's just like, this is the kanji. These are some vocabulary words. You have 2 exercises. Okay, let's move on. And just that. So I think you can actually find better things on internet than in here. But well, if you like it, it's good to go. It will tell you enough kanjis to pass the N4. So yeah. And for the listening part, just go on YouTube, search JLPT, the level you want to do, and mock-up exams, and you will have a ton of listening mock-up exams with the correct answer, and just practice there. Just practice and keep doing it. You will need to spend so many hours into that. So to finish this video, just a quick recap of what I plan to do this year. And at the end of the year I want to start reading Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone in Japanese, and for that I think that I need at least an N3 level. So instead of just doing the process of learning the grammar, learning the vocabulary, I plan to read a lot, quite a lot, because I also think that I need to be better at reading, to be more faster if I want to finish the book. So currently I'm doing the N3, well, I bought the N3 grammar book and I will be checking it along with the vocabulary and kanjis that I find on my readings. I'm using Satori Reader at this point because I bought the subscription for 1 year, so I want to read as much as possible from there before the end of the year. And I really like the app. It's been really handy. I'm reading right now Kona's Adventure, and the only thing is that I find some of the grammar points and explanations a bit hard. Yeah, they are more on the N3 level than on the N4 that I'm sitting on. So yeah, it's been quite challenging, but since you can check all the grammar and all the vocabulary on the same app, it's really handy and really quick. I also have 3-4 books for children that I want to read this year. So yeah, I think with all of that, I will be somehow prepared to read Harry Potter. I also will make sure to at least read all the whole book, just even once, just to know the gist of this grammar. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure I will change everything up in a few weeks, because that's what I've been doing. As I told you before, I try to be flexible, and right now what I want to do is to read. So yeah, I'm just reading. So yeah, if you like this kind of videos, subscribe to my channel and let me know if you want me to explain anything else, if you want me to show the rest of the books, or yeah, anything. I read you in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!